Okay, awesome. It sounds like everybody is seeing the screen and hearing me. Excellent. So my name is Shaylin Herrick. I'm the Director of Marketing for Business Products here at SOS, and I am joined by Derek Wood, the Product Manager for SOS ServerSave. So today we're going to go through a little bit of background on SOS, who we are, and why we created SOS ServerSave. We'll go through some quick screens about the features of SOS ServerSave, and then we will look at a competitive comparison, and then finally Derek will take you through a demo. It'll look like I have a lot of screens here, but we'll blow through them pretty quickly so that we can get straight to the meat of the presentation and see a demo. And while I'm talking, or Derek is talking, please feel free to type questions into the chat box. We love questions, and we are more than happy to answer them for you.
Okay, great. So moving right along, so a brief introduction into who SOS is, where we've come from, and what we're doing with ServerSave today, and how we believe this is really changing the market, how the market's changing with it. We started off rather humble beginnings as any tech startup, in a dorm room, and that was in 2001 in Melbourne, Australia. We really didn't have our big launch globally into and specifically into the U.S. market until about 2005, 2006, which was when we also won our first PC Mag Editor's Choice Award as a beta product. Our product from inception until just this last winter was a file and folder online backup. The real meat of our target audience were those who really needed a high security backup program that could be available off-site and not some cheap storage solution that was putting it off-site, but the security wasn't there, no geographic redundancy, etc. So we've really dominated the market as far as the leading online backup program, both awarded by PC Mag Editor's Choice 3 times over the last 6 years. Four times over the last 6 years. The last of which was this November, so we're happy about that. And that's a tough review to get because they really put all the software they evaluate through the gauntlet, and we keep coming out on top, being compared directly against companies like the consumer giants Mozy and Carbonite, iDrive, i365, Intronis, you name it, we've been compared against it. HP Upline, which is no longer around as of 2008, 2009, Iron Mountain, all of it.
So we have 500,000 active customers in the consumer and business space, and we have 500 value-added reseller partners, actually more than, I think it's more like 700 today. We have 110 employees around the world, approximately 20 engineers, including our CEO, constantly working on how to make all of our products bigger and better. And we have 11 global network points of presence. So Derek was mentioning geographic redundancy as a key feature that we have. We make all of our backups automatically redundant in 2 data centers, and requests for specific data center backup in like the UK or in Canada, we can absolutely accommodate. So what is going on? What's going on in the market? What's going on for you guys as businesses? Tape and disk backup was always cheap and was for a long time cheaper than cloud backup, cheaper than online backup, and now that's not really the case anymore. Cloud backup has decreased in cost dramatically and increased in reliability. So now, what's really the point in doing tape backup? You might want to, but it's absolutely recommended. Even this week, the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security put out a study stating that they recommend online backup in the event of disaster, theft. All these things can happen to you, and having online backups of all of your data, including your server data, ready to be recovered and quickly is something that is just a best practice.
Now, for the market of online backup, so far we've seen that it's been a huge growth in the consumer market. So individual users have really spurred the growth in this early adoption phase. Early adoption meaning the security was still a little uncertain. People weren't really sure about it, not familiar with the idea of putting sensitive data out in the cloud. But now that that's more comfortable, we're seeing a huge increase in the adoption for SMBs of any size. No longer is it just a solution for those of you who are on the leading edge, but it's now something that should be a standard part of any backup strategy that you have for your business, which is a standard part of any really risk management aspect of your business. TechCrunch and Forbes just came out and they both commented on the same study that showed that risk management is one of the most underrated items in the SMB market today, and that when times are tough, poor risk management actually puts people out of business more than just the market being down. So most of the businesses that have gone under in the last few years, the study actually showed significantly that it was due to a lack of proper risk management, meaning backup solutions. So we're really looking at about a 75% open market getting into a proper backup solution. Now we have a lot of people on the line, and we assume that there's going to be some that are going to be full-time internal techs, part-time. Maybe some of you are just business owners and you're doing this on your own accord. Could we all just put in your role in the business and how you operate and what you're looking for as far as getting an online backup solution in place? Okay, and then as those come in, it's going to be good. So the big reason that a lot of people are starting to migrate now is, one, it's proven as both secure and effective and necessary, and really it's now also that your tape systems are coming up to expiration. Anyone here looking specifically right now because the system you have in place is expiring? And as we have all these coming in, we appreciate all the feedback. This is really great. So we have some information systems managers, IT admins, office manager. Okay, great. Thanks.
Small business owners. Okay, very cool. Not using tape, using external hard drive.
Right.
Okay, cool. This is a really cool mix of all of you here, so we appreciate you attending. Let's go ahead and dive into some of the features of ServerSave. This is the portal that you will see when you start using SOS ServerSave. There's online backup and recovery accessible from this portal, the bare metal image creator, which is what you would use to back up system state data, programs, and application data, and this includes your SQL, SharePoint, and Windows servers. Exchange granular recovery. This will do your mailbox restores and allow you to search, find, and recover mail messages, contacts, and more. And bare metal image stream. This is what you will use to send your messages, I'm sorry, not your messages, to send your bare metal images up into the cloud. It's a specially engineered version of SOS Online Backup that is designed specifically to send very, very large files up into the cloud securely. Next, a really cool feature that we added into this dashboard is to allow you to back up by use case. You can choose backup a laptop or PC, backup a file server, backup an Exchange or SBS server, and backup an application or database server. And then this is it's like a wizard tool that will take you through how to do this backup. This is the SOS ServerSave online backup and recovery tool. This is our standard recovery tool, as some of you are probably familiar with. So this you would use to do your backups for laptops or PCs, file servers, and perform a recovery for any of these pieces of equipment. You can also schedule your backups for these pieces of equipment. This is one of the pieces of software that won a PC Mag Award, and you get it included in the SOS ServerSave product.
And when we're talking about backup is not something that's new. Really what differentiates any service is the experience. And we were specifically noted for making the process, quote unquote, both simple and secure. So both of those being a big item there, because security, for those of you who are in IT services and development, know that security always complicates whatever you're trying to do. So for us, building the software is certainly more complex than an FTP tool because we make it secure. But we've been able to keep that high level of security without complicating the usability of the software. So it truly makes it a install it, schedule it, forget it, and then you can use, in a disaster, it's very simple to go back and recover to any specific date. So you can, as the screen below shows, you can refresh your entire backup set as long as you've been backing up. My personal account I've been running since 2008. I can refresh my whole backup set in a matter of a minute to October 2008, October 2009, and then I can also see what recent is today. And in the same, you can use your daily recoveries in the specific version of each file because there's unlimited versioning. And you can simply and securely share information to other people via email. So really the experience behind our program has been what's generated our success, in that it's both simple and secure.
Thanks, Derek. So moving on, what else is in the online backup and recovery tool? And from the looks of the chat here, a lot of you guys are already familiar with this. Backup multiple network drives and workstations from one portal. We don't care if you use our system to back up external hard drives. You can back up absolutely whatever you choose to.
Sorry, we have some questions. So some people here are already SOS users. How many people are already using SOS and are particularly excited about the launch of ServerSave rather than having to use a third party? I know Michael's already one of them. And anyone else? Maybe David? Same with Robert? Okay, great.
Cool. Well, let's go ahead and move on from this then. This is just a quick view of how to choose which files and folders you're going to back up.
And as Michael's comment comes through, he says, we've been using Backup Assist alongside SOS Online Backup. And that's why ServerSave has been so successful, is no longer are we just providing a file and folder backup, and then you have to use some third party to create a full system image. We're now using all of it. Some people are using Acronis for the image part. And those systems are great in what they do, but our system is still being used for the online portion because of that simplicity and security. And we've now integrated that type of technology into our award-winning cloud platform. So now we're going to have both the image-based backup, locally, off-site, exchange granular recovery, and then over the next 3, 6, and 9 months, we're going to be moving into more of a cloud boot scenario, which would be really nice. Today, it's available per purchase, $500 to get it in, and we'll load up an image in our cloud and then give you the IP to access it. But it'll be a standard part of the service moving forward. So we're really excited about where this is taking us.
So on the screen here we have a quick view of bare metal image stream, and you will get to see this in action later on in the presentation. This is the tool that you'll use to perform uploads of your bare metal images to the cloud. Here's some other views of image stream. As you'll notice, it looks a lot like the online backup and recovery tool. You can search for backups to recover from by calendar date, just like Derek was talking about, and you can also select by folder and by machine to send backups to the cloud whenever you like.
Yeah, certainly. And one of the big things that we're really changing about image-based backup is the bulkiness of managing a lot of images and the incrementals with the images. With the continuous image backup procedure and the way that our software intelligently recovers long chains of incrementals, you no longer have to schedule a full backup on a regular basis. You really just need one full backup, and then you just run incrementals continuously. That way, getting an updated version to the cloud is more reasonable. Backing up a 500 gig image of your server may take a long time, and you want to avoid doing that as often as you can. With the new incremental or continuous incremental system, you don't have to do that. So it makes restoring back to those certain levels much, much faster and much, much easier. So for our office managers in the line, switching out those drives every day, trying to keep track of what's there. Okay, now on the weekend we ran a full, now we need to switch these out and make sure we're in order. A lot of that hassle goes away. So think of all the hassle and the hardware and the mistakes that can be made in that. Most of the tape-based systems, it was estimated that 60% of recoveries, for the most part, failed. And a lot of it wasn't just because the tape systems were breaking. I mean, that was a big part of it. But another large part was the human element behind the whole thing. People are great at making mistakes, and and it's good to automate these things as much as you can.
Rick says his current image is 2.6 terabytes, and we can absolutely accommodate that.
Yeah, and is that uncompressed, or is that just the raw data? Or is that just the raw size, or is that a compressed size?
Uncompressed?
All right, cool.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
So we'll go through, we'll show how the system works when we go through the demo at the end here.
So let's get through the rest of these slides so you guys can actually see the system in action. These are just some shots of Exchange, backup, and granular recovery. Select files to backup and recover, select a file and target location for recovery. You can do all of this within the EGR tool. Search multiple backed up mailboxes and messages. You know, human deletion is a huge, huge part of data loss, and it's in fact how most data gets lost, as you guys probably know. So Exchange, backup, and granular recovery is a great tool to have on hand to be able to recover data from your Exchange server. The Exchange backup and granular recovery portal allows the user to rapidly search by mail item type. Again, very, very cool way to recover lost data quickly and be a hero within your office.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a look at the SOS ServerSave dashboard. From this dashboard, you will be able to see how many server licenses you have provisioned and how much space you have provisioned across your company. So it'll let you know when you need to purchase more, who's using what, and this is exactly what's going on in your system. This, I know a lot of people were looking forward to. This is the comparison between SOS ServerSave, our SOS Online Backup business product, Zenith, Intronis, and what is now eVault. eVault recently changed their name back from i365 to eVault. So we have bare metal backup and recovery. Zenith, Intronis, eVault, Acronis, all those guys do that. The original SOS Online Backup business product did not. Exchange backup, granular recovery, Windows Server backup and recovery, SharePoint Server backup and recovery, all the same story. SQL Server backup and recovery, same story. Military-grade security, we have always been a company that has prided itself on its security. We back up all of our backups locally. I'm sorry, we encrypt all of our backups locally, in transit, and at the data center. So everything is safe no matter where it is. We provide total protection coverage, automatic and infinite archiving of all files and folders. And mobility, no matter where you are on whatever system you're on, you can always log into m.sosonlinebackup.com and check out what's going on in your account. And we also allow up to 5,000 seats per account. If you need more than that, we can absolutely help you out, but I think that's a pretty big account. And we offer transactionally consistent backups. So this is in opposition to crash consistent backups. We have a question from Muhammad. When you say SharePoint backup, does that mean that you offer SharePoint hosting? We don't know much about SharePoint, but we are considering implementing it.
No, we do not do SharePoint hosting. The image system, you can just create an image of any system volume. So you just create a volume of where your SharePoint server resides, and then you can recover it. We do have a system that maybe you'd be familiar with if you're still looking at SharePoint integration, and that SOS Collaborate, which we can certainly send some more information out later. To go through some of the items more specifically, the military-grade security, that's a 256-bit AES encryption before it leaves the machine. It's transferred then over 128-bit SSL and stored at an additional 1024-bit AES once it's at the first data center, and then we replicate to a geographically separate second data center. For those of you in Canada or the UK or Australia where you need the data to reside solely within that country, the geographic redundancy does not apply, but everything else does, and those data centers are still backed up, and there is an offsite backup. It's just not as far apart as if you're in the U.S.
Peter has a question. Does Windows Server Backup include OS or only the files?
OS. So the file and folder program was what we had, and being able to restore, if you create a boot disk, and then you'll have a full image of your system. So and then the total coverage, the automatic and infinite archiving, that's a huge benefit, especially to those of you who are either working or serving in legal firms or accounting firms. As much of their security compliance revolves around data retention. We literally do not delete any data at any certain point in time, except if the account is canceled, at which point we queue up complete purge of the data from that account after 60 days. And then also, if you delete information from the backup client itself. Mobility, the versioning is completely free, so you can have as many versions of a file as you want. So if you're backing up every hour, and if you're getting your PST file, for example, at the end of the year, you're going to have 1,000 versions of your PST file, but it's only going to count the largest size of that version, or the largest version of that file, against your backup space. So if it's at the end of the year, if it's a 3 gig PST, it only takes 3 gigs off of your backup account. With mobility, we do have the mobile client, and we also have the SOS iPhone app that's out. Currently, we're working on updating the backup agent to handle the larger images that the new 4S camera can take, but it will back up contacts and images from previous versions of the iPhone, and it's great for on-the-go restore and access to information.
And we will have the Android app very soon, within the next couple of weeks, that will back up the entire SD card, contact photos, videos, everything, and allow you to restore that data if anything ever happens to your phone.
Definitely. It's going to be, we're very excited to see how that's going to go. So what this means is that with the servers, what's coming into SOS, you have a good file and folder solution that you can use at workstations and desktops to keep that, the laptop fleet and the individual users under control. Then you're going to have the ServerSave software to handle your servers naturally, and then the mobile clients to handle mobile applications backup and access. So especially when you pair up an individual backup account per user in your environment, and user to user, some people use it, some people are just struggling to use their email. But those of you those employees who are comfortable with technology are going to love the increased access they'll have to their backups and the ability to really speed along their working day because of it.
Rick has a question. Is use space based on compressed size or source size of data?
Source size of data. So it's always been an interesting debate with cloud-based services to go on compressed data or source data. But the pricing is just adjusted because at the end of the day, the cost for the hosting is going to be the same no matter what we're charging you for it. So the cost is adjusted.
Linda had a question earlier. How do I know if backup is successful, and how do I find out the backup schedule and details on what systems are backed up if you have multiple servers?
Certainly, we can take a look at the My Account system, which gives a full backup history, so you can see the machine name and the date that the backup ran and the amount of data that was backed up at that runtime. So we'll show you that. It shows multiple systems.